Welcome back, everyone, for this final match between Ixar and Puffin. Now, Ixar is going to be going into this last game of his Dragon Priest. It's been quite hard. He started off 2-0, but this Priest has really given him some issues. And Puffin is going to be on the Jade Druid. So what can we look forward to in this matchup?
Yeah, so you guys have seen the Dragon Priest for 3 games now, obviously just kind of trying to play those overstated minions on curve. However, this Jade Druid deck is a little new to the game. It's an interesting archetype. We're going to be seeing Puffin try to play increasingly bigger Jade Golems. Every time you play a card that has a Jade Golem in it, it gets an additional +1/+1. So obviously your goal is to kind of stall to the late game and make as big of Jade Druids as possible. And they do get really big here, sometimes upwards of like 10-10 and higher sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it gets ridiculous. You also have some ramp to get in there. You can accelerate your minions even faster. Now, normally in this matchup, I would put it on Ixar. He has quite the advantage with the Dragon Priest. It's very hard for Druid to eliminate some of those high cost health minions, while the Druid is definitely going to have to find the ramp in this one.
It should be a great match, so it looks like we are heading into it right now. All right, we are getting into the mulligans here. Will Puffin pull off the reverse sweep, or will Ixar manage to hold him off with the Dragon Priest?
Ixar here is going to be looking for some cheap minions, keeps the Netherspite Historian there, and picks up the Twilight Wolf, so a pretty good hand. But Puffin with that Innervate in hand has some big plays available.
Yeah, actually, pretty good hands for both sides here. Ixar does have a good early curve. Puffin has the option to go ahead and Innervate out Fandral on turn 1, which is usually a very strong play, but he does pick up the Azure Drake, which maybe should make him pause for a second.
It doesn't, though. It doesn't. Puffin goes right ahead, coin, Innervate, and here comes Fandral on turn 1.
Now, unfortunately, Ixar doesn't really have a lot of great options as to how to deal with this. No Shadow or Pain obviously in hand, so it looks like he's just going to have to opt to try to make some sort of 2-for-1 trade here.
Fairy Dragon is pretty good, though, because Wrath cannot target it. There's not a lot of spells Druid can do to actually get rid of it at this point.
Yeah, so it looks like Ixar may have managed to stave off the damage from that early Fandral. And that is really big. That could have been a huge deal for him. So if he's able to trade in the Fairy Dragon, that's going to be great. Now, Puffin does pick up a hired gun here from that.
Oh, and he gets a claw. Ridiculous. That was his only out to take out the Fairy Dragon this turn.
Yeah, definitely, possibly maybe one other wild sequence, but really, that is just devastating. Basically, it takes out Ixar's only way to deal with that Fandral, and Fandral is only going to get better as Puffin continues to gain more mana.
And Ixar picks up the Shadowward Horror, not a card you want to see in this position. Just going to have to play the Netherspite Historian.
Netherspite Historian only discovering a Draconid Operative as its lowest cost option. Alec, this is starting to get out of hand really quickly. Puffin now has a ton of options here on this turn. He can go ahead and play the hired gun, Innervate out the Azure Drake, maybe even just play the Wrath. But Ixar still doesn't have any way to deal with this board or this Fandral.
Puffin's just going to trade there, keep the board clean, and Ixar's still not picking up something. He really probably wanted to see a Twilight Guardian that turn.
Twilight Guardian would have been really nice, would have handled the board very well. But Alec, we're now at 4 mana. Puffin has a handful of spells, as well as an Innervate and an Azure Drake. With no end in sight for this Fandral Staghelm, this game is going to spiral out of control very quickly.
Yeah, it's still a little awkward here with the Fairy Dragon. You don't necessarily want to trade into it, so we might just see Puffin go face here.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially since we haven't seen an answer for the Fandral Staghelm. Now, of course, the Priest is coming up on a 5 mana turn, which is usually when you see AoE coming out from the Priest. But that being said, Puffin throwing caution to the wind here, just going to go ahead and push an additional 7 face damage.
Operative's going to have to get something nice. You could take the Jade Behemoth here. There's a Feral Rage as well. Do you think it's time to look for defensive options? He does go with the Feral Rage.
Yeah, I think the Feral Rage was the best choice there for sure. But that being said, even with a decent hand here, Ixar is still just so far behind. And Wrath is a 5 damage draw a card right now with both Fandral and the Drake on the board. That is just
2 mana.
Yeah, for 2 mana. That's absurd.
Also picks up the Raven Idol, so Puffin just continues to get value out of this Fandral. I'm going to pick up another minion and another spell this turn. See the Knife Juggler there. Ooh, even has a few options here to pump up some of his minions with Mark of Nature, Mark of the Wild. So we could see a ton of damage coming this turn from Puffin.
If he just goes ahead and hero powers or Wraths the Draconid operative here, he will be able to push an additional 7, and he will have lethal set up for next turn. So Ixar is going to have to find some way to deal with this board, or we are going to see Puffin moving on to the Grand Finals.
Now there is a Twilight Guardian off the top, but Hunter, do you think Ixar knows that much damage is coming?
I think you have to assume, right?
Oh, he just goes and plays Sylvanas though. So it looks like Puffin is going to have enough damage. Let's just see him calculate it. I think he's reaching to the Mark of Nature first thing. Yeah, that's going to be enough to take out Ixar. And that fast start from Vendril dispelled the death of Ixar in this matchup with this Dragon Priest. Puffin going to take it with the Jade Druid.
Claw doing some crazy work there. An awesome game for Puffin. Just a great series between these two guys, but it does look like Puffin is going to be moving to the Grand Finals to face Firebat. What an awesome series, Alec. Do you think there was any chance that Ixar had something he could have done differently to maybe win that game?
Well, he's got to be feeling that tech with the Shadowward Horror, a card that came up in that match but really didn't do a lot in this series at whole. So I think Ixar's probably looking at his deck building when he's coming back, but I am more than excited for Puffin. Cannot wait to see him play Firebat in the next series.